hope you're sure to find. I'll take CJ and Jester, talking truth and lifting pressure. Every Tuesday, 10 to noon, we're holding space just for you. Take, take your time. We're here to be your mind. Take you're not alone. See the end, bring you home. It's okay to not be okay. Let's talk it out, don't drift away. Mental health, it matters most. So come in close and raise a toast to the ones who bite each day. To the silent words they never say. You're strong, you're seen, you're truly heard. You got your back, you got our word. Oh, take CJ and Jester, talking truth and lifting pressure. Every Tuesday, 10 to noon, holding space just for you. Take the take your
Morning, Grenada, Carriacou, Pizza Courtney, the rest of the Eastern Caribbean, North America, Asia, Africa, Europe, to all our Take Five fans and family. Good morning to you, Jester and Faraya.
Okay, I'm doing just fine. Good morning to you. Good morning to the listeners and viewers of this Big Five Mental Health Show for yet another Tuesday, Tuesday the 17th of June 2025.
Can you imagine? June is ready, good, and almost out, you know?
Into the hurricane season.
We don't want to hear that.
Yeah, well,
Let's not talk about that.
it's the harsh reality, and we gotta prepare ourselves. It will be worse if we don't prepare ourselves.
Well, you know me, I'm
Or
always
or
prepared.
be prepared at all times.
Mhm.
You know, and I think that's where the we got caught with our pants down when we took Ivan for granted, because some people was like, G for Grenada, G for God.
Like it's only Grenada God's sub, yeah?
You know what I'm saying? We took a lot of things for granted, and I say, had that hurricane came in the night, oh, the devastation would have been many times more than what it was.
Just so we're operating on the fan and AC and I'm pouring sweat here. I don't know what's going on, but the AC thing is working, but I'm not sure if I need to give it more speed, but if I give it more speed, it's gonna make noise, I think, in the background, as we are hearing.
It's really
Yeah.
hot. It's a
In a
hot
hot day
morning.
today, yeah. And look at me, I'm already sweating and I'm wiping and I'm sweating. So, good morning to each and every one of you. And we start off by saying good morning to Marlon Klein. He says, good morning to CJ and Jester. To all the Take Five listeners and viewers, have a wonderful and productive day with God, which is blessing. Thank you so much, Marlon. And all of us, she Bonjourno, has already checked in and she says, good morning to CJ and Jester and all viewers, listeners, with much love and blessings. And I know Mary is going to check in just now. Lorna is going to check in just now. Jenny is going to check in. You know, the whole Toronto peeps is going to check in. Let me say good morning to Wendy, other in Toronto, and also Sharon St. John Philip, other in Maryland. And good morning to JG. I know that you're listening. Hope all is well. What's happening? Jester, I said good morning to you, so it's your turn to say good morning to your peeps.
Yeah, well, good morning to my good pal, Gordon Bushes with Chetson. We had a conversation for a short time over the weekend. Morning to Leslie Nicholas.
Yes, Leslie Nicholas.
But it's Nico, remember how he is Nico.
Have you given me the whole thing now? He doesn't want anybody to know his last name, Jester.
Well, no, man, that would never be the case. I
I
can
know.
tell you that for sure. You know, Alistair Dubois, that's I2, Wayne, Ted, John, Andy, Moose, Bartholomew. Yeah, the Green family out there in Boston. Yeah, the good lady called me on Father's Day, and that
Oh,
was
yes,
so
you're a
very
fan.
nice of her. You know, that was
Yes.
just so refreshing. You know.
Yes.
Good morning to Clay and Mahu, the Hill Street people, the Robinson family. In fact, I saw
The matriarch?
the lady of the
The
house.
matriarch.
I'm not,
Let's put it that way. The matriarch.
and she presented me with what do you call it? Is it a bookmarker?
Yes. Yeah,
Thing,
bookmark. Yeah.
a
That
bookmark.
is if you're reading
Yeah,
though. You read?
I haven't read it as yet, to be
But do you
honest.
read? That's not what
How
I'm
many
asking.
do I read?
Do you read paperback or you read on your mobile?
I
Okay.
don't.
Paperback is the book itself. The real page turner thing.
Oh,
Do you read that?
I prefer to read these books, you know.
Okay, so then
Yeah,
that's where your bookmarker is going to
yeah,
work.
yeah,
That's what I was trying to get to you.
yeah. I prefer to read them.
Yeah. The
So,
tablet has its own bookmarker at the top, the little blue thing and everything.
yeah. So her thing really was to look out for fathers that she knows
Should come.
she could beg for she
Oh,
and I find a new name for what I contribute to, you know. Community organization tax. COT I call it. Yeah, I developed that, remember. I'm the originator of that community organization tax.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you get a refund for that?
No,
And there's no tax.
do you get refund when you go and pay your property tax?
But when you pay, if you paid before the due date, you
No,
don't already
no, no. All I know is that sometimes they have incentive for people that will have been paying late. They create some incentive so that they can get them to come and pay. But I don't really have any.
Here it
Any.
goes. If your tax is
Well, and
due in
remember, you're
June.
not in Canada.
No, I'm talking about here. So your tax, I don't pay property tax in Toronto. Oh, in Canada, I don't pay the tax. I pay all other taxes except property taxes. If your tax is due, mine is due this month, right? But I normally pay it in April together with my insurance for the house here. So I do not pay the full amount of the taxes because I'm paying it early. I'm an early payer. So I get a discount on the amount that I pay when you pay it early. But if you pay late, only late buds and so maybe that's the incentive they
But
give you on
it's
time.
just an incentive. That's what I'm saying. They don't have to do that.
They don't
They
have
do not
to,
have to
but
do
I'm
that.
just telling you what
Yeah,
it is.
what I'm saying.
So don't come and don't
Yeah, but
but you don't get no refunds to stop about the same community taxes. Yeah, so go ahead. Who else you want to say good morning to?
You just sidetrack me. Oh, let me say good morning to Miss Patricia Bissessa, who might just be listening. I found a new client that might be on logging on to us this morning. That's Kim Lambert. Yeah. You know, he has a
From
nice place in River Sally there. Yeah, he comes a number of times
But
for the year.
the thing for the last time, the electrical.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's
So
only builders that do
I
stuff.
shared the link with him this morning. It might just be.
Really, but they don't do stuff. Yeah. But think
And I wouldn't hear things like that. I wouldn't hear that, man. Because
next year.
your word, please to say that.
But you know, just put it out there because you don't come and do my work when I ask you.
Good morning to Miss Gladys out there in Maddie's. She runs that shop. I used to live with the Francis shop.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of years ago we are talking about. And he used to have a garage
On the other side, where the is it
the
where
rubber bike.
is it where Crispin shop is? That's
Yes,
where the thing is.
around that area there.
Yeah.
And then,
A lot of changes, but it's changed and it's like it remains the same. Because once a business comes in and they say build it and they will come. So once you build something, people will come.
yeah.
So that's the thing. But yeah, there was a shop, there was a garage there, and what else not? And there was even a shop on the hill just when you leave and you just turning into to go into Mede's.
Yes.
Right, and then there was a Silver. Was it his name? Silver?
I'm not
think
sure.
so. I remember that the guy that was there, I can't remember what his name was, but there was a shop right there also. And then there's good old Raymond Courtney right on the other side. Good morning to you, Ray. How are you? Hope all is well with you and Keith. And who else I have to say good morning to? Faithlin Harley Douglas. Good morning to you.
I want to tell you personally, sympathize with Mr. Silver. Yeah. Mr. Silver needs something.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Oh, kudos to you. I saw him yesterday.
Yeah. I think he told me his mom's burial is on the 26th.
27th.
27th?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
See, I got all of the information. So Lorna has checked in. Williams Broadcasting has checked in 107.5 over there in Grandertown. Waves.
Where is our
Listen
prayer
to.
warrior this morning, Clay? I don't
I
think
don't know. He didn't call. He didn't call. He was
I
supposed to
don't,
call in and so Jester.
I don't,
Can you
it
please
seems,
pray for me?
no, you praying this morning.
No. I cannot. I keep telling you I cannot pray in your
Just have to
presence.
stop that. Well, you have to learn to pray.
In your presence, go pray. Pray this morning. I promise.
Man,
I promise. Listen.
by the time,
Promise.
listen now, let's go and do the thing. By that time, he might be calling in.
Okay.
Or we might get Ken to call in.
Can you? I know I don't call Kenny.
Okay.
She wouldn't pray. She wouldn't call in.
Well, yeah, we will just call in Ken.
Let me call Kenny and see if she's there. Let me say, oi. Let me see. Yeah, he was supposed to call in. I spoke to him this morning, and he said that he was gonna be running out for a moment and he'll be back. So let's
Excuse me.
let's see if we're gonna get Kenny to answer. I always have Kenny on standby, but I didn't put on standby this morning because the gentleman said that he was gonna call in. So the phone is ringing away.
Can I go give
Can
you a friend?
I go to the house? So just so we can get Kenny, so you know what that means, right? Please pray for us. As Kenny is missing in action, please be honest. Unless somebody else wants to call in and pray for Mary, you can pray now. And who else again? That's Mary in the chance the game. And then we have Olubachi Mary and so on. So yeah, Lorna, you don't want to call and pray this morning, please. I'm begging. You're not in the presence of a gentleman, so you could pray this morning because you're not there. So Lorna, you could call and pray for me this morning. You could just send a message and say yay or nay. So just what's happening before?
Well, girl, the weekend was Father's Day and Sunday. That was part of the whole weekend. That's how we term it.
It's an everyday Father's Day.
Yeah, and I find this time around, I believe it was a Father's Day celebration with a difference. I believe men was more underneath the spotlight, you know. We start getting more recognition now, really and truly, and that's really how it should be. And Father's Day should have been celebrated first before actually Mother's Day, in my humble opinion, because had it not been for a man, there would not have been a woman. So why Mother's Day first? And we had a lovely um breakfast at Riverside Junction, and let me say hats off to the guys that um hang out on the block around Samson shop. So we have members of his little organization called Community Changers being part of it also. So number of guys being on the block there, they chump up and put a very nice breakfast together. Clay. You had a number of things. You had fried fish, you had fried saltfish, you had smoked herring, you had saltfish sauce, you had a ham,
And I guess you're not
you had you had hot dog, you had bits, all different types. You even get in fruits, yeah, nuts.
So you had a balanced
pork.
meal. Is that what
Oh
you said?
yes, and
The
it's,
balanced
and the
thing.
good thing, it was buffet style, so you just pick up your plate and you go around and you say what you want it.
So did you pig out? Did you pig out?
If I were?
Pig out. Like you ate and ate and ate.
No. I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't like. No. I take just what I feel like it's good enough or comfortable enough for me to eat. So you don't really abuse anything.
That's it. Oh, but great, and then we'll continue. Thank you very much.
Or should I just continue still on already?
Nobody's gonna. We start. You just pray.
All right, Heavenly Father, we thank you once more for rising us up from the bed this morning. That is not by chance. It's only because of your involvement and your indulgence, most merciful Father. And you guided us to different destinations this morning, and you have us here this morning to do this program with the intention of uplifting many others, edifying through mental health, Father in heaven. And we put this program into your hands that you guide us, make the best out of it so that many people can benefit. We ask this through your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
But look at you. I don't know why when I ask you to pray, give me some all that
Yeah,
you
because I
pray,
want,
Jester.
I want you to start to learn.
To pray?
Yeah.
I could pray, but I just said
No, no, no.
I cannot
You,
pray
you,
in
you,
your
you haven't
presence.
proven, you haven't proven to our viewers and listeners that you can. So
Amen.
you could say what you
Amen.
want.
Do not.
Saying one thing is good to say one thing, but to prove is another.
Do I have to prove to you that I can pray?
What? Not to me.
What?
Not
But
to
you're
me.
the one that's
This
making up.
program is not just for
You're
us, you
the
know.
one that's making a big deal about me not
Me?
praying.
Well, yeah.
So you
Well,
know.
not me. Not me. I'm making them flow. They will see.
So okay, just before we go further, let's say this morning we are going to have a special guest this morning in the name of Miss Sababan
Miss Sabazan.
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 Well,
All right, let me spell for you.
tell him, no,
Sabazon.
Sabaz, Sabazan.
That's
Right.
correct.
You see, when I try to say it fast, my tongue sticks here. It's like this Sabazan is going to be here this morning. It is the month.
Speech therapy people.
Yes, it is the month of June, and it is, and teachers are celebrating the month with different activities and so. So she's going to be here this morning to talk to us about the milestone that teachers has reached, the activities that they are going to put on, and everything like that. So we are just awaiting her arrival. She called and said she got stuck a little bit in traffic or somewhere, so she should be here soon. And we know it is 10 and traffic is still hard on the road, Jester. So let's go. Guess who has checked in all the way from London, England? It is the Taz. Good morning to you, Taz. How
Like,
are you?
that's the joke.
Listen, this is my boy Taz. He has checked in. Long time no see. But Taz, putting all fun and joke aside, the ladies are waiting your return, including me. So I am going, but I think I'll be back before you come here. So, but they're with every damn year. When he starts something, like I said, I didn't send Taz anyway, don't ask me. That's what I said. Don't ask me because
That's the joke. Mr. Rocha is here.
Taz, let me tell you something. I met Taz
I
a
like
few
it.
years ago. No, honestly, I met Taz a few
Trust
years
me.
ago. And Taz is the most genuine
Yeah.
person I've met in when he has to do something for you. If he can't make it, he'll call you and say to you, CJ, I can't make it today, not feeling like that. I said, no problem. But if he says he's coming, he's going to be here. And he does what he says that he's going to do. And if Taz come and he meet your place clean and he does something, when you come back to your place, it is clean as when Taz met it. I don't care what nobody say. I ain't letting nobody, including you, come inside my place and do anything for me. Because you leave the work for me to do when you go. Taz cleans up. And for that reason, all the ladies, my ladies, we just want Taz to come to the place. We don't keep on Taz and go about our business,
Oh yeah,
Taz
but
is
you
the
know
most genuine.
when anybody posts that, you just really could kill it.
I know, but that's what certain people do not mess with Taz. He's cool, calm, and collective until. So I know which road I'm treading with my boy. See, I experienced it already. Let me
Do
tell
not
you.
cause that.
No, don't. And he does not. You can say in 2 minutes you tell him up and the next 2 minutes you want to come and be friends. Nah, you're not having that at all. So that's like that. Thank you so much for checking in, Taz.
Does enjoy yourself in London, man.
Yes, yes. It is it should be getting better in all the cold countries now. I think Canada they had Mary, tell me what the weather is like today. Lorna, tell me what it is like today. And good morning to Kathleen Ledger. I haven't seen her for a bit. I'm not sure what happened. She may check in today. Good morning to we're saying good morning to the I too, good morning to you. Ted, the big guy. I spoke to him on the weekend.
Oh yeah?
Yes, and Marvin, good morning to you also. Spoke to Marvin also via the thing. Right. And who else we have to say good morning to, Jester? We have another people to say good morning to them. Well, here should people know they get good morning already. Whether I say loud or I say proud, the Houston people are getting their good morning regardless of what. Mr. Nicholas Snag, good morning to you. Oh, Taz said it's hot sun today. Well, enjoy because England normally is on the kind of one day school, one day thing. You have to always wear sweater weather in England, but I'm happy that you're enjoying your hot day today. Yes. Pat Pierre, good morning to you. I saw her a few days ago in Grenville and she passed by. I was like, hey!
That really up in Park.
Into her eyes. She has the most gorgeous eyes I've ever seen.
So why would you want me to watching it?
No, 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 it's big. It's like a, like a Bengal tiger that has that nice eyes. The
So,
first time I saw it, I'm like, whoa, I said, is your eyes real? She says, yes.
so one look into jail
No, you're not
for,
looking to
for
jail. So,
Mr. Pierre to kill me.
but all right, Mr. Pedro, if you find him or catch him looking for your wife, I
I
take
don't,
him out of
I don't, you encourage me. Was there something wrong with you?
I'm giving you permission, Mr. Ketty. Take out.
I don't understand. I have a lot of respect for Mr. Michael Pierre. Oh,
Yes.
I remember him back being the principal at SAS, and then from there, during those days, I'm doing electrical maintenance, going throughout schools on the mainland, and then was brought down to the Ministry of Education some years after.
He has this
Yeah.
unique voice that I love
And
to
he,
hear.
the good thing what I used to like about Mr. Pierre, because a lot of other PSs and thing before, they don't have this kind of stuck up tighty way. But he always used to be around the maintenance gang, because that gang was like a live wire in the ministry. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. The men in the jeans and t-shirt.
Somebody
Yeah.
just write, CJ, is that so? Because I say, Miss Lady, have beautiful eyes. That you
Yeah.
have, listen, let me put it out there. You have beautiful eyes to the one that just said, you got these big, gorgeous eyes. I look into your eyes and I'm like, whoa, that is a nice pair of big, ugly boy. So you have nice eyes too, so don't get all jealous over there, JJ.
Well, the world has changed drastically along a lot of things, So I hope with the statement you're making that people not cannot find it.
Sitting right here. Look to my eyes and tell me to see any clearly. I'll give you the permission to open
My
my eyes.
gosh, man, that's
Nobody gonna knock your trust into my eyes. Not my grandson share.
no, but you said it to me there. So
Yes.
some people might find it funny. Yeah.
Listen, what I say. If you find that, bite me. Come on, don't bite me.
Oh
I don't
my
care.
gosh.
Because you see, I am the sort of person, if I see godlessness around me, I praise God as yes. And if I see people that is not, I try to help them to get to where gorgeous could be or posh could be. So Miss Pierre has beautiful eyes. And honestly, when I saw the first place I saw was in Bankway. And I'm like, I'm talking to her and my eyes is on her. I said, is that your eyes for real? Because they have contact lenses. And I asked them because people wear different color contacts. And they wear green and if they want to enhance what the eyes look like, and so they put different color contacts in them, which is not a good thing. People don't do that. But her eyes were just mesmerizing to me. And I said, is that the color of your eyes? And she said, yes, it is. And I said, you've got gorgeous, gorgeous eyes. And there's no wrong there with me paying her a compliment. And if you might have intention, I want to go and stare you in the eyes for Mr. Pierre to tell you, go ahead, Mr. Pierre, take yours.
You always the one I encourage you that I do. Yeah. I never have the intention of doing that. Come on.
So, Lorna says she has to go to her workplace today, so she needs to make a contribution early. So hopefully Miss Salazar gets here. With her, she's going to be leaving around 11:30. It's now 10:22. I think she will have the time to do that. And if you send and tell me what you may want to make your contribution on, what paragraph you want to make your contribution on, I'll skip to it just for you and then go back because your contribution are always, always on point together with Duchess and Mr. Snag, everybody. But you see, when they go in depth, Jester, it is like they just summarize everything, makes you see what it is.
Right.
And the lady with the gorgeous eyes, you could call that I'm talking to Pierre. You could call sometimes. I know you have good contributions to make and you just sit there and listen, but we need you all to contribute to our program.
She's a very jovial person.
I know.
Oh,
When,
gosh.
because I
She's
tell
a
you,
live wire.
I like her.
Really.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's why I like her.
Yeah.
She's not no slut. Good morning to you, Jenny Mason. Good morning to Jessica Grant. How are you? All is fine and you're doing A-okay. So, like this morning, really, just our program or topic this morning is on exams and the impact that it has on the student and the parents. And it was so fine that Miss Savazon, see, I can say it now, Miss Savazon is going to be here because she's a teacher. What is she, the president of the
She's the
GT?
president of the GUT branch for St. Patrick.
For St. Patrick's. And it is now 10:25. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take a quick commercial break and then we'll see if she says not, we're going to start our program and then we can feature in between and then just go back to it. So we'll do that. So good morning to each and every one of you that's on live at the moment. Let me say good morning to Joyce Well. Correct. Correct. Charles Alexander, good morning to you also.
Joycelyn.
Yes, Joycelyn normally listen. We have a few people that listen, but they just don't. I don't know if it's you. Listen, if you have a contribution to make, it doesn't have to be long-winded. If you just say one sentence and it pinpoints everything that we're talking about, we get it. Just call because this is the only way people knows that you are really getting into what we are talking about. And it is not an easy thing for Jester and I to go do the research and we come here and we blabber all by ourselves and you all are not participating.
And we're not getting the feedback.
Participate. Good morning to Kathleen Ledlow. She checked in.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so very much.
What about the Hollywood lady, man?
Flipping Hollywood. She must be planting peas.
I'm feeling that.
So she didn't check it this morning as yet. She's going to check in at all. She said, CJ, I had my thing, but you know, I was in the field planting and I said,
She's waiting for Corpus Christi.
No. Good morning to Marilyn Gilbert and to Nikki, and let me say good morning to my Take 5 gang. Jester, we're getting bigger as it is because what is spreading that we are good over there. But you know, we're looking for a few good men, just two, not you, Jester. You're not a good man.
Mm-hmm.
Just two to come and give us a I went to the dance exercise there last Tuesday. I wanted to see what all the noise was about. Yeah, I went last Tuesday. A few of the girls go there on Tuesday because last Tuesday I wasn't 100%. I didn't want to keep them from not exercising, so I said go join the group there the Tuesday before they did. And last week because I'm feeling a whole lot better, I joined them there last week. And yes, the exercise is good, but we are better.
Please.
No. You can ask any of the girls because okay, yesterday. Let me put it this way. Yesterday.
Better on what girls?
We do core exercise. We do strength exercises. We're not only doing aerobics. Down there, you can lose 20 pounds in a month down there, but you're going to be flabbing and waiting. I'm telling you. Because it's total aerobics and fast pace and everything like that. I was able to keep up because I've been exercising forever. But yesterday I was told we could do the exercises down there because of the stamina that we gained here. So I'm telling you, our group there is not no. And JG, you can call and tell us what it is. If he thinks that I'm joking, call 404-118 and put Jester straight for me, please. Because he's thinking that because we are ladies and we're looking weak and so that we don't do things. Let me tell you, what's in the back of our t-shirt? We are fitness warriors and your workout is my warm-up. That's to tell you how bad it is. We're bad like that. So, yes. So to all the people, and I'm saying to the people that are out there, yes, we are. I'm saying to the people that are out there and wants to get fit or so, you can either join us or go down there, do something because obesity is becoming an epidemic around us right in our little island here. So do something. It's going to prolong your health and also your wealth because if you have health, you're going to have wealth. So let's take a quick break, Jester, and we will right back to start our program.
Oh, wake up, it's a brand new day. Got some things I need to say. Feeling heavy and I
For more information, contact We Noise TV at 929-445-4463. Or you can email us at wenoisetv@gmail.com. We Noise TV, the leading streaming provider. Anytime, anywhere, any screen. Access to your favorite HD content with prices as low as ever. Choose from monthly, quarterly, or yearly payments. This worldwide service is flexible for you to keep up with all your favorite programs, shows, movies, and local programming from home no matter where you travel to. Worldwide TV channels right at your fingertips wherever you are. Latest in live sports, binge watch all your favorite TV shows, movies on demand, videos on demand. You can pause, rewind, fast forward anytime. Never miss 1 minute in entertainment important to you. No contracts, no added prices for sports or premium packages. We certainly don't have to pull tricks like cable and satellite companies. Our product speaks for itself and beyond. We Noise TV. We have everything like Netflix, Disney, Amazon. Watch your favorite movies, TV shows, and series with our services. With our service, you will get rid of all other subscriptions. For more information, contact We Noise TV at 929-445-4463, or you can email us at wenoisetv@gmail.com. For more information, contact We Noise TV at 929-445-4463, or you can email us at wenoisetv.
For that local supermarkets where you can purchase all the grocery and household items at the same time. Well, look no further. Smart Buy SA Belford and Company Limited, located at the top of the town on Main Street, St. Patrick, is the ideal spot. They're open Sunday to Sunday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Mondays to Fridays, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Saturdays, and 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. on Sundays, just for your convenience. Call them today on 442-9219. That number again, 442-9219. We're shopping snacks at Smart Buy. Welcome to Take 5, your mental health program with CJ and Jester. With CJ and Jester.
Jester, and
Before you go on, before forgetting, I just want to take the opportunity to express my deepest condolences to the government and people of India
yeah,
on that tragic plane crash, shortly after takeoff, where 241 people perished. That is really, really sad.
and it's a long time we haven't had a big one like that. And
And miraculously, one person survived.
well, I'm seeing last night that one person that survived is under investigation.
Yeah,
And last night that popped up on it, they're saying that before the plane took off, they see cameras catch him walking underneath the plane, and like he put something there, so it must have been like, I'm not sure, that's what the phone said.
yeah,
He
okay.
must have placed a device there or something, because he wasn't wearing his seatbelt. He's the only one that wasn't wearing his seatbelt, and he was in the exit row at 11A. So
Okay.
the survivor is under investigation now by
But
all
of course,
stuff. So
yeah,
this is what I mean. But after the thing took place, there's they were giving their condolences to the families and so everybody, and and they said they wrote a whole history about people and stuff, and there were two sentences at the end of it that says, we are not sure how long we're going to remain in this life. It is really, really short and fleeting. So do not hesitate to live today as it is your last day. Do the things that you want to do. And most of all, tell the people in your life that you love them, because it might be too late for some of them. So here I go, Jester. Mi amor, too.
But I mean, yeah, what you said, that I've been hearing that in different circles before, in different ways, just the same.
When tragedy happens,
Yeah. So it's a very important point to always remind ourselves of. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So yeah. So now we are going to start our program and wait for Miss.
Oh yes, whenever she
Whenever
comes,
she comes, we'll just take a little side thing and then continue with it. So the role of student and parents with exam stress. It says exam stress is a common experience among students, often resulting from the pressure to perform well academically. This stress can manifest in various ways, including physical symptoms, emotional symptoms, and cognitive symptoms. However, understanding some key psychological skills can help students manage and even alleviate exam stress effectively. And we know this is exam time, just so we have CXC, we have the government, whatever that one is for the grade twos and up. We have all kinds of
CPA.
CPA, just went. So this month, or maybe May into June is exam. And we know the pressures of exams. We've been there too. So it says symptoms of exam stress, cognitive effects. It means difficulty concentrating, making it challenging for students to absorb and retain information. Another point, memory problems, leading to difficulty recalling important information during exams. We all have been there. This decreased cognitive functioning, which can impair decision making, problem solving, and critical thinking skills. So when you are at the exam hall and you're writing a paper, things that you already did before Jester, you know, it is right in front of you, but you cannot for the life of you bring it up as to what is the answer to that again. And you're putting yourself there, you're sitting, and then time goes by, you stop another one question, and at the end of it, you did not finish your paper. So this is what it called cognitive effects, because it can make you forget where you have to go and think about the problems that you cannot solve.
But then, I mean, to combat that, I remember our teachers used to always tell us, you move on, you don't waste time on what you already know. Move along, you will meet those that you know, you deal with it, and then you can come back to those that giving you
some issues.
Yeah, giving you difficulties.
But it's easy for them to say that when we sit in there.
No, but it's the proper thing to do. Yeah, the best way.
Not every one of us has the control to do that, especially when you think you know the answer to it and it just wouldn't come to you. The next one is emotional effects, anxiety. Exam stress often triggers feelings of anxiety, including worry, nervousness, and apprehension about performance. Irritability and mood swings. Stress can make individuals more irritable, leading to heightened emotional reactivity. And that is true because when you're stressed about these things and then you get nervous and you're telling yourself, well, you know, can I do this? Can I perform to the best of my ability? So it takes that on you. It takes an emotional effect on you also.
Well, any form of examination, in my view, you're under some form of scrutiny. That's what it is basically to me.
And we're going on to physical effects. So when you're going through exams, it is said that you should go to your bed early, get as much rest as you possibly can. But here is the kicker. From physical effects, you suffer from insomnia and sleep disturbances, which in turn can exacerbate feelings of fatigue and impair cognitive functioning. Headaches and muscle tension. Stress often manifests physically, leading to headaches and muscle tension and other somatic symptoms. And somatic symptoms mean affecting the characteristic of the body as opposed to the mind or spirit. So it affects you that way also, somatic, which is characteristic, as they say. So it gives you a headache.
Claire, you have to excuse me because you know we expect a call from Miss Sabazan. So
Okay. Okay, so take the call from Miss Sabazan and then we'll continue. So she should be here, is what you are saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So then that's the physical effect of it. It says you get gastrointestinal issue. Some students experience stomach aches, nausea, and other gastrointestinal symptoms. So even when you exam, you see the stress that it puts on your body, you get all of this in your body for doing exams.
All right. Hold on.
And it puts a real stress on you. So Jester is going to do Sabazan as we speak. So it's not an easy thing for students to be going through exams. And there's a way that parents can help, which we are going to get into after we have the talk with Ms. Sabazan on Teachers Month. It says you get that. Let me see where we are. Yes, the gastrointestinal system. And sometimes we hear about gastro is out. And yes, it is a virus, but from not being able to sleep properly, you have the anxiety, the stress, the feeling that you're not going to do well in your exams, your body can respond to that, and gastrointestinal symptoms may appear in that form. Then we have behavioral effects. Procrastination. Some students may procrastinate or avoid studying altogether due to the feeling of anxiety. Changes in eating habits, which include overeating or undereating, which can impact energy levels and overall well being. Social withdrawal, which can lead to individuals withdrawing from social activities or isolating themselves from peers, further causing feelings of loneliness or anxiety. I'm going to transform myself right here so you could just will just see me for the moment, and then when Ms. Sabazan and Jester comes back, so behavioral effects. So he said when you procrastinate your studies, all that is part of stress of going through exams. You feel you want to study, but you don't want to study because you're anxious about what it is that you're going to be facing. You change your eating habits have changed also. I'm going to take a quick commercial break and then we shall be right back. Let's see here because Mr. Amazon is here. So let's take a quick commercial break and we'll be right
Oh, wake up, it's a brand new day. Got some things I need to say. Feeling heavy, you're not alone. Come take 5, you're in the zone. Voices come, what's that care? Two good friends always there. Let the sunlight in your mind. Peace and hope you're sure to find. I'll take the CJ and Jester. Talking truth and lifting pressure. Every Tuesday, 10 to noon, we're holding space just for you. Take a breath, take your time. We're here to be your mind. Take 5, you're not alone. See the end, bring you home. It's okay to not be okay. Let's talk it out, don't drift away. Mental health, it matters most, so come in close and raise a toast to the ones who fight each day, to the silent words they never say. You're strong, you're seen, you're truly heard. Got your back, you got our word. Oh, take CJ and Jester, talking truth and lifting pressure. Every Tuesday, 10 to noon, holding space just for you. Take.
So we are back, and we have Miss Sabazan with us this morning. As we said before, she's the president of the GUT, which is the Grenada Union of Teachers for the Parish of St. Patrick. So Miss Sabazan is going to be talking to us today on the milestone that teachers reached for the years. So, Miss Sabazan, you're on. Tell us. Introduce yourself. I did a little bit of it.
Good morning, everyone. Well, I said before, I'm Karen Sutherland. Currently, I'm the president of the St. Patrick's branch of the GUT. Well, as teachers, I'm a teacher by profession, and my work home has been this humble parish for the past 9 years, as I'm currently the principal of Holy Spirit Catholic, which everyone knows as Shantimore Parish. And this is the month of June, and the month of June for teachers in Grenada is very special because that is the month in which we were established 112 years ago. So this year, on the 20th of June, which is Friday, is actually the union's birthday, and we're celebrating 112 years. We have the distinction of being the only string union on Ireland, and we take care of the business of teachers. Our President General, as everyone knows, is Brother Jude Bartholomew. So we have 112 years of legacy catering for the needs and educating our nation's children. And this morning I've been given the privilege, the opportunity by CJ and Jester to speak to you about St. Patrick's branch and what we have been doing and what we will be doing for the birthday celebration for the month of June. Well, let me start off with the theme. The theme is a bit lengthy, so permit me to use my notes.
And of course, that is
The theme is moving the union forward with professionalism and technology, the gateway to a transformative education sector. This was a theme that we used at our recently held conference in April. It was hosted by the St. John's branch. And generally, as a union, whatever theme we use for conference is a theme that encapsulates our activities for the remainder of the calendar year. The only activity that may have a little bit of a difference is when we celebrate World Teachers Day, where we sometimes use the theme that is given to us international. So the month of June began for teachers. We had our National Church Service, which was held at the Maribor Pentecostal Church. It was well attended. We also we had to postpone our quiz. And I was anticipating the quiz because it is one thing I'm good at, is taking part in quiz. And St. Patrick's branch has been doing extraordinary well in the quiz. We hardly ever come outside of the top three positions. So we were looking forward to going back and, resuscitating, because last year it was debate and we would have won the debate for the teachers. The branch would have won the debate for the teachers. So we're kind of not winning jovial mood, but alas, the weather prevented us from having the quiz. So we had teacher sports last Friday. We all journeyed to Las Vegas. It was a very long day. We had cross country. Up to when I left, which was like after 10, we had not completed all the activities under the phonetics. I left before the final two release of the day. Having said it was a very long day. We had fun. Those of us who were there, we had fun. It was a day to relax among your peers. We focus on the children so much that sometimes we forget that we to ourselves need those breathers, we need those relaxing moments. So we had that on Friday. We were able to socialize. Well, the teachers in my branch forced me to run, so I ran principal's race and I came second. So it wasn't a bad day overall.
along that line before you move on, because in terms of the total teaching population, what was the turnout like for the sports? Because I'm hearing that most of the time a lot of teachers do not attend this activity.
Well, let me put it that way. Teachers attend, but we don't attend to take part in the activities of the sports, like the cricket and the football, because we had a change with last year and this year. We don't do the preliminaries before the actual event, actual sports day. So we had, I could say, roughly maybe 60% of the teaching fraternity on the day. But most of us came towards the afternoon when we figured the phonetics would start, so we had no time to relax because some of us did not want to take part in the cross country, so we didn't come only for the cross country. That is we only do cross country that needs to 10. So a lot of persons did not come for the cross country. But through the course of the day, you saw a good contingent of teachers, and this year, for maybe the first time in a very long time, we had teachers from Carriacou and Petit because with the devastation out there, most of the playing fields are not in use. So they came and they participated in the phonetics aspect. They were part of the match press and everything before they left. They played cricket. We played Grenada teachers against Carriacou teachers. Well, of course, Grenada teachers won. But it was a day well spent. You saw about 60%, 60-70% of the teaching fraternity. Most of us come to relax.
Okay.
To run.
Well, first of all, let me say congratulations to the teachers of 112 years of the profession. And you already gave us some insights as to the activities that already took place. What do you have coming up?
Coming up, well, tomorrow, God's will, as a branch, we have two activities. We have our community service day, and we do that in conjunction with the persons who host the mental health clinic at the Sotters Medical Complex. So we're going to give breakfast to the persons who participate and come out to the clinic. So we're doing that in the morning. And in the afternoon, evening, around 6:30ish, we'll be having a movie night at Breakwater to give teachers a day before the holiday a chance to come out and just relax, have fun, laugh, because we're looking for the movie to be shown. We are very light-hearted. Comedy, something to take away from we are all in this examination period, so teachers would definitely need that light-hearted moment. So as a branch, that's what we're having tomorrow, God's will. And on Friday, It's the union's birthday, so we're having a social expo at the GBSS auditorium for teachers. So teachers come out, participate. Those of us who have small businesses, those of us who have handicrafts and so on, get a chance to showcase our talent and what we do there.
Being the president of the duty of St. Patrick, the whole parish, that is weighing on your shoulder there, the whole, do you get the amount of participation from teachers that you really need to move forward in everything that you're planning?
As with everything, we'll never get 100%, but the persons who come out and they come on board, they do pull their weight and they go over and above measure. And I must say, I have a very supportive and hardworking executive. So if I fall short, I know they're able to pick me up and get the activity running. But we don't get 100%, or whatever percentage we do, we execute our activities well and it comes off very nicely.
I know in the sporting event, I've always seen you with your hat, and so I know you as the hat lady. And so look at Miss Sabazan going across the way with her hat. That's the way with Roy. Right when I didn't know who you were, I said, "This is Miss Sabazan." I said, "Oh, that little lady with the hat." She said, "Yes." So I know you're very active in the St. Patrick area with whatever it is that you're doing. Now, being the president of the GUT for St. Patrick, you have students that has parents that comes to the school on certain days when the child, you send home a child, or you say to the child, go bring your parents, come here, or you do something and it says, okay, stay home for the next couple of days until you get together to get to what it is. The parent comes to the school and read you your riot act. How do you deal with that?
I can speak from personal experience because I think I had about 3 acts read to me in my short tenure. I normally take a deep breath and try to remember always I'm looking out in the best interest of the child. So the parent could come to me as antagonistically as they would, but I remember, you know what? At the end of the day, I still have to deal with the child, and I have to be able to see that little child, okay, you know what, this will have happened, but that does not take away from the caring relationship that I have with you. And I try to do that with all my children and even my parents. We have basically a people policy at my school.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, where parents can come in and speak to us. So we give them that forum. And if I find the conversation becomes heated, I often ask the child, leave, let the adults discuss and then come back in. Because one of the things you can't say something when it goes outside there. I don't want it to be that the child says, okay, you know what, mommy really cussed at the principal this morning and come to school the next day, we catch you that like we cuss at the principal too. So I try to give them that space, and when it gets heated, well, me, I take a breather and I always call on the Lord. Because I believe without him, nothing gets done. So I will take that breather and say, okay, you know what, let us.
Okay, as you said that, the child is in the room. What is said cannot be unsaid. And you know as well as I know that some children will hang on to that mommy come and she tell Miss Sabazan where to go. So then I could tell Miss Sabazan where to go to. Do you think that the parents of a lot of children need to be educated? Have a meeting with them or have some sort of forum that they can come to and learn how to talk to the teacher, the principal in front the child if the child is present in the room?
Yes, I believe that is something the education system in general can benefit from. Because a lot of times when you sit down after all the tempers boil down, you realize sometimes the things stand from maybe an issue of miscommunication. And often, okay, something happens and as well, what is said cannot be answered, but just as the same way, somebody, based on your emotions that day, you interpret a statement a particular way when it was never the original intent. So all of us could benefit from that. One of the things that we did last academic year was do a lot of outreach in our community for our parents to see us in a different light than just the teachers who are at Holy Spirit or at Chantinel. They saw us in their environment. So we gave them that chance to speak to us in more or less, where I am, I come and meet you where you are. But what you said does make sense. I think generally we could all decide how to do the communication. Because at the end of the day, both parties in the interaction, we are all human beings, and nobody knows the baggage that came the day into the interaction.
But,
If we have the chance, I think we can work things out.
but apart from that, the school system have what you call a PTC and
Yes, we have
parent teachers conference. So that might be a means of, like keeping the dialogue to find out how your child is progressing in school.
Yes.
We have a question from one of our listeners. It says, in keeping with the topic for today, how do you all prepare the students for the final exams and the start of the secondary school?
Okay, well, throughout because the CPA is a process. So the school is responsible for 200 of the marks through our internal assessment. So we work with the children there to ensure that the best possible mark goes into the exam. We give them periodic review. We teach them test taking skills. We speak to them about their diet because that's also very important. Those who don't go to church or those who know we may find out have that good relationship, that personal relationship we want with the Lord. We encourage them, what this is your examination, since you should go have that conversation. Go to church. You don't have to go every Sunday or every Saturday, but at least try to develop that bond with the Lord. And when they are normally finished with the exams, we often have what we would sometimes quote unquote call life skill sessions with them, where we invite different persons to speak to them. For the past 2 weeks, at least one day of the week, our students were exposed to other persons. Last Wednesday, we had the counselors. So the counselors in the district would have met with all my students, Bonnie and Samaritan, because we were close together. And we had that session where they gave them tips on how to transition into secondary school. And from where I sit, I bring that knowledge of secondary environment to the primary school because I was first and foremost a secondary school teacher. So I understand what it is like to be a new kid on the block in a very different environment. So oftentimes when I have my conversations with my grade 6 at the school, I interject that and say, you know what, you're going to a different environment. People may not necessarily know you, but there are certain things about you that you have to bring. You have to bring your assertiveness. Assertive does not mean you're weak, but you have to be able to speak up for yourself and say, you know what, I did not do that, or this is what was going on when that happened. So we try to give them that sense of you be able to stand up for yourself. We also try to kind of think critically. Not everything you see packaged nicely means it's nice. So you have to be, when you go into the center, to think critically, your hormones, everything you're trying to find yourself, to know which group of friends you may need to gravitate to and which you may need to let go of. You also have to get them, we often try to get them to remember too that you no longer going to be the one teacher in front of you for the entire day, but you might see 8 teachers for the day. And 8 teachers will have 8 different personalities. But you have to know who you are and what you want out of the interaction. So we try to get them to always remain goal focused and goal oriented. We have nurses speak to them, we have police officers speak to them. When the police came to me a few weeks ago, they spoke about the new drug. They said it was not the new packaging of a drug. It was not in the primary. Still, even though it's not in the primary, actually, when I get ready for secondary school, and they will be exposed. So they came and they spoke to them on how they could take care of themselves, what are some of the things to look out for to not to end up in negative behavior. So we do cater for that. And we also try to teach them some of the basic skills. Some of them may never have washed their clothes or iron their shirts. So we try to give them that sort of life skills. So how to iron, how to tie a tie, how to wash. We try to give them all that because we know they're going into a different environment where parents may give us a little bit freedom while some might decide to tighten up the issues a bit more. So we want them to be able to navigate that new landscape as best equipped as possible.
Sorry.
Would you be able to take calls while you're here? Because some people may want to call in to ask questions. Okay.
I realize you make specific mention of divine intervention, advising that they go to church. Um, what it is like now, because I know in my time growing up in school, back in the 70s, early 80s, we used to have religious education from just about 11:30 going into lunch. And of course, you are under the Catholic. Do they still have that in school?
Yes, our religious education starts, you can say, from 8:45 to finish at 9:15. Our assembly rolls over into our religious education period. from Tuesday to Friday. On a Monday, we have a general assembly, we bring in a guest speaker. And then because we are a church school, we often have Tommy Mass. Sometimes we get it monthly. It often depends on two us on the schedule of our manager to facilitate all the school masses of our schedule to go. At least once a term for sure, our children get the opportunity to go to the church at Chancellor just with the Spirit Roman Catholic and have their own mass outside of the confines of the community. Community members, of course, are invited, but they have that opportunity.
Okay. Here's another question in the form of a statement. We find bullying all over. How do you, as a teacher, treat with bullying in school and cyberbullying?
Well, interesting question. Interesting statement. Bullying has read its ugly head in Grenada for a few years now. However, I think one of the problems and the challenges in dealing with bullying is that sometimes some of the behaviors, when you bring it up to the maybe to the parent of the child who was doing the bullying, they may see it as, natural, foreign behavior, things that they did in their childhood. So we often have to reimagine the situation and say, okay, yes, that may be a natural, normal thing that you did, but the children today will not see it like that. And you have to keep their whole self-esteem intact because nobody wants someone to just come and bounce them and it's like a joke. Or you bounce very quickly. Every time you pass on the morning, you have a slight comment to make. So we often try to reimagine the situation to get them to put themselves in the situation of the child who is facing the bullying. So they understand that, okay, when the shoe is on the other foot, it really is tight. And you wouldn't want someone to treat you that way. We often get them to monitor their words. So when we find that it's going over and above measure, sometimes we just take a week and we focus especially on the aspect of how to use kind words for the week. So for the week, we recognize children who use kind words to do a kind deed. And well,
Yeah, do you have them on the right to left and left to right? Check and switch them up and see.
that's perfect.
Yeah.
We're talking right now. I remember there is a child in the school who did something that was significant because he came to report an incident and he didn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually came, said what happened, and he was very responsible enough to try to get the other children who are doing the wrong thing to stop doing it by telling them the consequences. So right now we have a prize and we want to give them towards the end of the school term for the little child in grade 5, one of our grade 5 students, Kevin Williams, who actually saw something wrong and
Did
stopped
something.
it before it escalated.
That's great.
So we know what we're teaching them working.
So here's another question. It says, also, how do you help athletic students balance their academics and their studies and the sports then? Because academics is in sports, yeah.
Very important question.
Yeah.
It's all about time management. But I'm not an athletic person, so I don't have that kind of.
You're not, and you have the heart walking through the sports, right?
They have my sporting excellence. I'm always a busybody, but one of the things I realize time management is key. And we need to get the children to schedule time for the sporting discipline that they heavily engaged in and time for the academics. I came from the secondary school where we were heavily involved in football, netball, and the athletics. And I often had children in my class who were the athletes, who were the footballers. So there were times I knew I had to give way, okay? They will be missing the language session. How do I accommodate them? So oftentimes they will get their package with their assignments that they have to do. And often it's okay, you are a sportsman at the end of the day, the academics is just as important as the sports because we need the former. So we get them to time management. As I said, they have to schedule themselves. Okay, if I'm giving 3 hours to the sports, I have to at least, if I can give the same amount of time, but at least give 50% of that time to the academics. And one of the things I always say, we have to know where our balance lies. So you're weak in that particular area. The sports sometimes impact some strangely enough. Sometimes the one area you're weak in is often the area you miss the most of because of what you're doing at a particular time. So everybody has to get on board. The school has to get on board. Parents have to get on board to provide the extra academic support that the child will need. The things can exist in a vacuum. You want the best athletes, you want the best student footballers, etc. The school has to give something, the home has to give something, the student has to give something. That's the only way we're actually able to see the balance work. Everybody has to make a sacrifice. But at the same time, persons have to know that okay, when the season gets less tedious, you need now to refocus on what you would have missed to make up for it.
Okay. Here's a question. It's a ticklish one. I look at you and you're professionally dressed. There are issues going around that teachers and addressing very provocative to teach the students, especially the young males that are going through adolescence and they're going through their period of getting into manhood. And they see the teachers with the tight skirt, with the thong underwears, and their butt cheeks are looking promising. And they think that it is okay to go after Miss Sabazan because Miss Sabazan is dressing that way. Is there any way that, with the pressure you have on your shoulder dealing with the children already, that you have to deal with this also? What can you do to make it better?
Is there a dress code in effect?
Yes, teaching has a dress code. We have our code of ethics that guides it together with what is written in the Education Act as to how we should and shouldn't dress. And with modernity, some of the polls have more or less been let loose. But I often tell teachers, I tell my female teachers, but I tell my students who go into teaching, don't dress to bring comments on yourself, because I had that experience as a very young teacher. A parent came to me in a same parent teachers conference and said, Miss, my son say he can concentrate when you're teaching. I'm like, this was like my second year in teaching in the secondary school. And I got a comment. I was on pause. So I'm like, I go back close to mommy. I'm like, what's wrong with you? I'm dressing to go to work. And she said, okay, if the comment is made, then you need to look at your wardrobe and see what is it in your wardrobe you need to change. And I took that statement to her because at that time I said, I'm barely walking, just out of work, I'm just making clothes. So maybe I'm making the wrong style. So after I advised you, go back to your code of ethics, go back to your dress code, and make sure, yes, you're comfortable, but your clothes does not create unnecessary drama. Because I'm a principal, I don't feel comfortable having to go to a teacher and tell a teacher you're not dressed properly. You know, to me, you're an adult. You should have that sense of what you're presenting to play. So I often be a little hesitant in the call because I say, okay, let us go through that and see why that is causing the problem. When I came to the primary school, I made more adjustments to my wardrobe. I realized primary school children, they like the tactile, so they always be touching. So what I did when I said, use of my light colored fabrics, I put them to the side and I started with more dark colors. I started with things knowing if I have to sit down, because I'm a person, if you come in my school and sing like I'm on the floor of the library, don't ask me questions. I'm there with my preschool and they're reading. So if I have to lie down on the floor and stoop down and bend down and those kind of things, I had to make conscious changes to my work. And sometimes as a teacher, we are not comfortable looking at ourselves to make the change. I'm not saying that we all have to dress like nuns.
No, not at all.
But
No.
I'm not dressed like a nun right now, for sure.
I know, but you're professionally dressed.
But we have to dress in such a way that it doesn't bring unwanted comments from the public and from the children that we interact with. I often say, if I don't want anybody to love my panty, like I will not wear clothes with my panty and my shoe. That's who I am. If I don't want to tell you that my skirt is too short, if I put it on in the mirror and I stand up there and I find it looking too short, you might find me 10 minutes late now because I'm trying to go through the closet looking for a skirt that I feel more comfortable with because I know where I have to go and who I have to interact with. And these are the things I try to tell persons. I have a lot of children who are teachers, a lot of children I talk to are teachers now. But when I look at them, I feel, okay, you know what? They have listened. We have that rapport, and I could see that I have made a difference. And SMSS has taught me a lot. And Max Secondary School has taught me a lot.
Oh, yes,
Because
yes.
there are days
Mhm.
that absolutely every one teacher say children dress as teachers. And I was like, yes, somebody dressed as in the Sabbath, and that one is you. I said, that person just like me. No, that person never dressed like me. But if I was dressed so, and I said, you know what? If that's what the child is seeing, wardrobe change started again. I went back and I said, okay, I'm going to put these things on the side and get something else. Because at the end of the day, I want person when they leave, just as we're able to make the comment that I'm professionally dressed, that person who see me can say, you know what, Mrs. Professional dress without my knowing who I am and what I do.
I question. You know, when you have students PTA meetings and you invite parents to come to the meeting to discuss the behaviors of the child or the academics of the child and stuff like that. I'm not sure if it happens in your domain, but I've always heard, even when I live in Canada and going to PTA meeting, that the parents that we need to see do not attend the meeting. We say, yeah, you don't have to come because your children is doing okay. So what can you do really? It's a tough question, but what can you really do to bring the children, the parents of the children that you need to see to come to the meeting to have a talk with you or to the teachers?
Sometimes we have to go outside of the meeting. Sometimes you can't use a PTA or even call a regular PTC to see the parents. Sometimes you actually have to tell the parents, well, at your closest convenience. So if you come from the garden and you pass by the school and you want to see us to have that discussion, we're not going to chase you. Because that means that is when you have time and you're actually not listening because you came to listen. So for these parents who often just don't come to PTA and PTCs, we often have to meet them where they are to have that conversation. I have had parents meet me in tongue already to have conversation. They see me walking and they did not remember. Miss, you know how long you tell me to come and I didn't get a chance yet? I wouldn't brush them and said, I may just pull them and say, I'll kind of get a little privacy on the sidewalk to have the conversation with them. They someone and say, you know what? Come and see me early Monday morning. Nobody's in the school around 7 and I'm here early. Come to see me very early so we could have that conversation. We try to meet them where they are because we know some of them, they will always find an excuse not to have the much needed conversation. So when we get a chance to have the conversation, well, we do have the conversation.
Just do you have any questions for
Of course I do have questions. Listen, being a teacher is always a challenge, being even principal or so. What are some of the things that you would like to see put in place, right, from your ministry that would help and make teaching a bit easier so as to address some of the things that might tend to be stressful in the teaching environment?
Well, first, what comes to my resources. If we have the resources, all the ideas and the plans will get implemented. Because it's not nice having to do something and then you have to figure out from the school end how you're going to fund that particular drive. You want us to use technology. We're asking that we have gotten devices. We're asking that the devices be maintained, moved promptly. We know things are tight. We understand the limitations, but some of us will use it, and more of us will use it if we know that when something gets broken, it gets fixed. When the laptop goes back for servicing, it comes back in a timely manner. We'll have no problem with that. For some of us, or what was government issued is at the ministry, but we're actually using our own, so we don't have a problem. But first and foremost, resources. We have the resources, a lot of the issues, a lot of the challenges, a lot of the initiatives will come to fruition. Communication is a two-way street. So just as we need to listen to the heads also need to listen to us. So you don't always have to be top down, because it could be bottom up too, because we are the ones in the trenches, as I like to say. We're working with the children, we're working with the community, we're working with the parents, we're working with the resources that we have, we're working with the limitations that we have. So communication becomes more open, and you get the sense that what you say is actually being worked on. You feel good, and I'm smiling and feeling good because we were in the pilot for the digital OACS primary school harmonized curriculum, which is coming on stream. And because we're a multi-grade school, I spoke to the fact that yes, we have a lovely platform, but I'm multi-grade. And sometimes to come up with a multi-grade lesson plans and multi-grade activities takes a lot out of you mentally. And we were at a consultation. And by the next week, the person in the ministry who was in charge of that is able to call me and say, Miss Amazon, go on the platform, we have something there for you. And when I went on the platform and I saw that he actually took the comment, I didn't expect them to take the comment to heart.
Mm-hmm.
They actually took the comment and they actually created a space where we could do multi-grade planning. A little easier. I'm like, wow. So if you get more of those when you speak, that you get the impression that person's listening and willing to make the adjustments to accommodate the situations, you feel more comfortable. So resources, communication, and at the time, so sometimes you don't always want to see the ministry as the big bad bully who is coming down to enforce policies and seeing what you're not doing right and so on. It's like to come and just come for a friendly visit. It doesn't have to be a stage show. You just come, see what we're doing on the ground on a normal day. The things you learn by just watching teachers, as I say, in our natural habitat, which is the classroom, you'll be amazed. You might pick up on strategies and so on. And as usual, one of the things that to me kind of hinders Grenada education system is that many of us, we do not publish a lot. So in all other education systems, you get publications from practicing educators, people who are in the classroom on the ground. But in our system, we are very few and far in between because the cost of publication is a lot and all those other things come into play. But sometimes if you take what you have and collate it and put it together and put it all there, will actually be in a better sense going forward in education. Because the experiences that the teachers have cannot be quantified. And if we don't take those things into consideration, we're making our plans and we're pushing our plans. Because as a principal, you like the middleman. MOE has something, you have to understand it well enough to execute it in the room with your teachers and be able to monitor your teachers and offer support to your teachers when the initiative is going. And the same way, teachers expect they tell you, well, these are our problems, that you will be the middleman and channel their problems up to the other level. So sometimes, as we said, it's not an easy sit in, but you make the best of it. But resources, communication, and we really, really need to get into our heads in Grenada that we have a beautiful education system that we do not take enough time to look at critically and analyze what our strengths and our weaknesses. We have lovely programs that benefit everybody. Right now, I'm happy to say I'm opposed because all the initiatives Paul has, one of them has been at Holy Spirit Catholic.
Good.
And we have been able to utilize those initiatives to make ourselves better. But if you're not a pilot sometimes, you miss certain things. And when it comes, and you just have to work with it. But if you get a communication working, you get at resources, I see our education system transcending and being more spoken about and more talked about as the one to model.
So the number to call here is 404-1189. If you're calling WhatsApp but from a different country besides Grenada, it's 1473-404-1189. Here's a question for you. The government has, I think it's mandated, if I'm using the wrong word, correct me, I stand for correction, that all students will enter secondary school for education. Now, we know that not all children work at the same speed academically. So we may have Jester is piping hot and I'm here just coming up. He's the trailblazer and I'm the one coming up there behind him, but not at the same speed. Now, in the school system where every child has the opportunity to go, do you think that there should be a school that is built or a facility that is built for children that are not academically inclined but are hands-on to make furniture, to do electrical work, to do plumbing, to do something, because not all of us can take the academic way
in what I say, like have the book sense then? Is there any plan for that in the future?
Yes, they have talk has been going on in circles to create some centers in different parishes that target different areas. For instance, St. Patrick was supposed to get a one on furniture making, carrot one fitting up, they don't have one on wood building because that's the niche over there, different things. But with the onset of universal secondary education, it's no longer access, it is universal across the board. We in education need to cater for to better cater, I shouldn't say cater, better cater for all the different types of learners we have. So maybe sometimes you know that your child may not need a full-fledged 5 years of secondary education. We need to give them the basic literacy, numeracy skills to make them functional, but they're able to work with them at what is their strength. And then we might have less frustration on the part of the teachers who teaching the heavy subjects. We may have less frustration on the part of the students who always say every year I'm in school already consistently fail. But if you give them something and you create the centers, we create the avenues, not only creating the centers, creating avenues where they could go and enhance their skills, we might have more persons leaving our mandated or compulsory education system better able to survive, better functioning, because they're able to do what they are good at, but at the same time, we have taken care of the other skills, their literacy, numeracy, their basic life skills so that they could function. Because we need persons who leave the education system who are able to function. We don't need persons who spend 9, 10 years doing something when they come out, they cannot function. They know they have it. We say, okay, yes, they have a certificate to prove their certification to show that they're able to do that. But can they really do it?
Sure.
So we also need to give them that practical experiences in our education system. A lot of it because of maybe still our traditional self was not currently our school systems were not built to cater for universal. We were built to cater for children who say maybe on the place and the high flyers. But now it's not only high flyers that are going to secondary school.
Everybody flying now.
Everybody in secondary school now, and we have to cater for the child that needs to feel proud of themselves. The proud of themselves might be the only thing that they could do with great skill and effortlessly is design something. They might be very good, they have to be able to make chairs. They might be good, do some very good cabinet work. What we wouldn't know that unless we're able to see and channel them into that avenue where they can do it. So with all that being said, we have it. I just think we need to take a back step now and critically look at the education system in its entirety and see how better we can cater for the needs of our children who are not the academically top class.
We have a call coming through for you. Good morning. Hello. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Good, thank you. You're online and on air. Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. I love the response in the question you asked just now there. I love the response from the principal. However, I just have one question. When the children go into the secondary school, are the teachers capable of sniffing out that at hand? Because we know in this education system what we have right about now is up, up, and out. Okay. The teachers are not some of the students that goes in there. They're so bad. Forgive me for using that word, but it is what it is. And you're trying with them, but they're not taking it. They're not picking up. But do we have teachers that are qualified enough, to see for this type of trend and saying, "Hey, this child is more talented with their hands, or this one is good with their brain. So let's push them in that academic way." And those that are with those skillfully, let's see if we can work with them accordingly. Do we have these type of teachers in secondary schools right now, or even teachers in primary school to identify these children before they go into secondary school?
Thank you.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
Great question, great observation. We may not have all the resource possible right now to do that, but sometimes in conversations with the children, be able to pick out what they are interested in. And there are times you could, based on the relationship you have with a child and parent, be able to give better advice as to what they may need to do and not do. Yes, that's one of the things we may be lacking as I go back to the first what we need to better improve our education system. Resources, not just resource in terms of physical, but the resources in terms of giving us the resource personnel, the persons. We could have the academic advisors, we need more counselors, we need more persons who have SEN training and so on to help with what you're speaking about, Carl.
You have another call coming online right here. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
We're good, thank you.
All right. Good morning, Jester. How are you? And your guest? I did not see.
Her name is Miss Sabazon.
Good morning to you, sir.
Well, good morning. Good morning. Yes, very interesting program. I know I'm hearing a lot of changes happening in the educational system, but for me, I'm still seeing a lot of challenges. I'm not saying problems, challenges. One, if every child going to high school, I totally agree with that. Yeah, but my thing is that we need to be doing some psychological and aptitude, that's my word, tests or evaluation, let me use that word, evaluation of those students as they entering the school system. And now the children entering are pretty young. We are talking 11, 12 years old, all right? Now, and for me, high school is a pivotal point in a child's life. It takes a lot of things happening to you after work, how successful you are in high school or how you're not successful. And it dictates a lot of things that happens to you further on, or you have to back up in order to get ahead to where you want to be. As an educator, I would love to hear what programs or what evaluation is put in place to evaluate all these students coming out of primary school to ensure that they go into the proper um, placement where they can maximize on their natural talent. Or if there's talent there, how can you grow? There's lots of people with, all kinds of learning disabilities. People learn differently, different ways. It's not to say that they cannot grasp the concept, but they take it in different, as opposed to just a lecture happening in front of the classroom and that child is totally distracted. But if you show them on a device, if you show them in a picture form, they instantly get it. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm just trying to get from the educator there with you, what systems are putting in place to make sure that these children go in the proper way. I love the idea where you said that we have schools that um, in Canada, from where we both were residing for a long time, there's what they call a technical high school.
Mhm.
So you learn technical things, but you still get the English, the history, and all those other things. But the emphasis is placed on you going in that direction. Um, and for me, I was placed in that stream, but I did not end up in there because I like the technical things. Yeah, I just liked it. And I went through that, but I ended up doing something totally different, which is sales. Yeah.
Mhm.
But understanding the technical things of it, I can now be a better salesman of selling the technology. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All the other English and math and writing skills and the interpersonal skills of speaking with people and even reading body language and all of that stuff came from that same school. So it's not to say that they're not getting the best, they're just getting it in a different way. Emphasis is placed on different parts of the curriculum so that they are well equipped to take advantage of the natural talent, the natural way of learning, the natural way of interacting. So I really hope that there, because right now what I'm seeing is just a big montage of students in a room, and if you pick up, you pick up. If you don't pick up, as the other caller saying, up, 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 and out, which is really and truly doing a disservice to our young people. Was my opinion again. It was my opinion.
We really appreciate your opinion because you always point on, okay?
What can I add that question when I ask my next? She's not a ministry officially, but let's see how she handles it.
Thank you.
Like moment. Okay.
All right, talk to you soon. Okay, bye bye. And before you answer this question, one of the person online says, Madam Principal, I thank you for your openness on the subject. So we only deal with what's real by here. So the real McCoy. So go right ahead. Yes.
Yeah, our friends say half of what the caller will need is really and truly above where I sit. Is that what okay, great? That's right. The conversation, the comments, the statements make sense.
Mhm.
It makes sense on the job because that is what we who are in the system are speaking to. We have no issue, we have no problem. We welcome them with open arms. But we need to be better equipped to handle all the nuisances of the children. Yes, we have been given opportunities to have some of us have been given opportunities to have SEN training, special needs training. Some of us have been given opportunities to show how to use different approaches in a classroom, such as differentiation and remedial and so on. But not all of us have been given that opportunity. And for it to work how we want it to work, for it not just to be as keep everybody in a state of constant friction and frustration. It has to be both ways. As educators, we have to be open, and at the same time, the ministry personnel has to rethink. It comes up one where we just have to sit down and rethink our entire approach to secondary education.
Mhm.
As long as we have everyone going, we cannot keep the same approach, we cannot keep the same status quo because sadly, some of our children will get left behind. And that's not what we want from education. Education, I firmly believe, is supposed to put you in a better state than when you came in. So for that to work, we all need to think about, yes, we equipping the teachers. At the same time, while we're equipping the teachers, we also really need now to have a special cadre of persons who come into the system to address some of the children who really and truly have an issue with the traditional form of education that we have. Because, like it or not, most of our facilities were not equipped to deal with 40 plus children in a classroom.
Right.
So, if you have 40 plus children in a classroom, I to no fault of the teacher, they have to use the default method of lecturing if they want to get the information across because they had pressed to be able to get to everyone at the same time based on the subject that they're dealing with. So for that to work, sometimes we need to think logically that we may need to be in a system where just as we borrow and we take ideas from all our first world countries, there are other ideas we need to borrow and take from them too, such as use of professionals, the use of properly trained teacher assistants. So you're not just a teacher assistant,
Right.
but you have a trained teacher assistant. I had a cousin when she was doing her graduate study. She was a teacher assistant, but she was doing her graduate study in education. Eventually, she became a psychologist within the education system. But that's what she was doing. So she wasn't just somebody that is there earning a salary, but somebody that was trained to assist the teachers. We have them in our system. I think it is time we give them the same training that we give to teachers so they're better able to assist. And we'll be amazed at how things will work because sometimes they pick up on things sometimes that the season teacher
Right.
may not necessarily see because you're thinking about everybody. But because for most of the time you're dealing with a particular 2 or 3 children, be able to see something from those children that you may not necessarily pick up in your general interactions. But this time we have them in the system, let us train them to be of more use to the education system. There is nothing wrong. I think a lot of them have the potential, but we need to enhance their qualifications and we need to give them that training to help us. Just the same way we need to give more of it's coming in, we cannot maybe not be able to afford a whole cadre of special needs teachers and teachers who have the training in speech pathology, dealing with children who have ADHD and autism and so on. But we might be able to give a few teachers who are interested the basic skills to address the situation first. And so they make the observation, and the observation goes to the persons who can have more of the resources, more of the academic background, more of the knowledge, more of the practical experiences to address it. But the initial observation, the initial things come from the teacher who's in the classroom, because like it or not, we're in the classroom. We have them in our classroom. We have the children that we know we fill in for them. We know mainstream education will not be their first choice. We want to cry with them. But we know we're limited, we hindered by what is available to us. So sometimes the best thing to do is, okay, mommy, try to get a little extra here. Sometimes the extra come from us, so we stay back the hour, the 2 hours, we help the child so just that the child can function the next day in the classroom. We do our best, but without it,
For the resources, yes.
physical and human, things will not work the way we want it to work, and we might end up failing. I don't want to say we end up failing a generation, but we have to be careful that we don't fail a generation of persons because we did not create the space properly and effectively to deal with them.
Got a question. I got a question and a comment. The person asked, when is CPA exams released?
The exam or the result?
The results, the results.
Well, sometime this week.
Okay.
Because some of the primary schools already have their graduations scheduled for next week as well. So hopefully by Friday, we will get a vote.
And here's a comment. Also, tell the president she needs to be the next president of the GUT, not only St. Patrick's, GUT. And I will campaign for her. So you are on the, how to say, up and up. And no, you accountable, you shop, you little boy, you tell us.
Yeah.
Take it out. No, you see, just have a question. Go ahead. After the last Mrs. Severs, and then the question.
What's the comment and then going into my question? The last caller made some very valid points, very, very significant, which you cannot turn on right now. I know it's above your grade, but what I advise that you take note of them so that when you meet with your executive, you can bring it on the table and then you can start looking to get redress in dealing with this situation. Right. When it comes to I've been observing that our student population in some of our schools have dwindled tremendously, and it seems to be getting worse year go, year come. How is it that you being the president of the branch addressing such situation? What was this conversation to deal with such? Because if you don't have students before you don't have a job.
Well,
Big well.
Small school principal, so my population is less than 100. Short of, well, we can force, but we can always encourage our parents to make use of the schools in their communities before they branch off into the schools in the more populated urban areas. Because what you find, some of the schools in the rural areas, we are the ones who are crying out for low population. But you find the schools in the more urbanized areas in Grenada having a significantly higher population. Because when parents go to work, parents often go with their children. So a lot of parents most go to the schools in St. Patrick's because I think we give off the best, and we have been making strides in all corners in St. Patrick. However, we might find that our population is dwindling, not because parents don't want to send their children necessarily to the school in the village. It might be because the parent now has a job in another parish. And the time that they go to work, the time that they come from work, they don't have that support structure. They have to go with the child. So that has impacted on population. One of the things that we do, well, in the educational district itself, before a child just before we just accept a transfer, we often call and find out, what it is, to see if we can speak to the parent to see, okay, exactly what is causing the issue why you may need to move the child from school A to school B. And if you could resolve the issue that causes you to move the child from school to school, if once that issue is resolved, you will keep the child in school. Some parents, once the issue is resolved, they keep the child because sometimes that's the severe issue of miscommunication. Sometimes it's a so called that they don't have. So when they go, they have to go. They have no other alternative but to go with that particular child. Sometimes, what we say legacy, and I know I'm a parent that preach legacy because my daughter went to my alma mater and she will often say, Mommy, since I little missing convent, that's the first thing is convent as a convent, you have to go. Because that's where I went and I felt the school helped shape me to become who I am today. So you are going, but not because your mommy went, but because you own your space, you own your place. And I want the best of experiences for you. So one of the things that maybe we in the rural areas would need to do, sometimes just not only focus on like my individual school. And because I'm very hat of the branch president, sometimes saying, look, what can the parish in general present to the public so that persons, it don't matter, they keep their children in St. Patrick. As much as it's trying and difficult, they keep their children in St. Patrick. So we have to look at it as holistically, what can the parish offer to all our parents to keep our children here?
So the caller that puts you on the above your pay grade wrote a comment. He says the people in the system are evaluated to ensure that they have the personality traits to work with children. And you made that comment. And as you said about the TAs and so the teacher's assistant, in Canada we have a teacher's assistant and support worker teachers, that if the teacher is off today, that person can step in and take the role of that teacher for the day or for the week. And it has been working because there are a lot of children that benefit from it. And here's a question I've got to ask you. The parents of children that are not doing well academically, is there a way or a system or something in place that these children can have after school programs or get tutors? Because first of all, the parents do not have the money to do that. So can they get some sort of tutors or after school program where the children can really come up to some level of the children that are in front of them? Because as we say, not everybody work the same academically. So I might be slow in some things and Justin, you might be really fast. But if I get the help along the way, I might be able to catch up with you. Is there a system that can do that here, or they're working on something like that?
Well, most of it, the after school programs you're speaking to, so often dependent on the school and the resources of the school. And you raised a point that one of my teachers raised to me a few months ago, was coming to the end of the second term. And I remember saying to her, the only thing I can think about right now is that we provide a service for our parents rather than asking them to try to source the service outside them because it is costly. And some of them really and truly, they don't have the money. So that is something we have, well, for chance we have enough on our backbone and our plates to think about doing. How effectively we can do an after school program for our children who we know need the further push with about 4 more legs of that ladder before they can actually survive effectively in school. So that is something we say, but most of it is up to the schools.
Okay, so we have a lot of retired teachers in all the communities in Grenada, all. And I'm thinking, I used to be teaching preschool before I traveled. I'm thinking if we go into the community, because education is the key to anything at all in this world. Once you're educated and you can read, you can speak to the president of the United States, to the king of England, to anybody at all because you can read. Can we get the engage the community, maybe even once a week or twice a month, to help with the children that are struggling because the parents cannot do the job that we're expecting? Because sometimes we send the children home with homework and the poor parent don't have to go up or go down. And I know in my days when I used to go home with homework and my aunt and them, well, we teacher, but it's not so saucy and it's not so messy. So the teachers what they know. And for now, with all this technology that is going around there, a lot of parents are struggling to help their children. So can we engage the community? Really and truly.
So for all schools should be able to handle that relationship with the community that we can tap into that set of resource person in our community, because sometimes they may have a little bit more time on their hand, and because we're dealing with less in the afternoon, it might work out best for everybody. But I think that's a very good suggestion that we can all embrace, to tap into our retired teachers once they're willing, of course, retired educators to assist with that. Because that's how some persons learn to read and write in the early school. Somebody in the community highlighting something going on in the house, everybody stand up and somebody run for it.
Quite realistically, I don't know how many of them might be willing to give this
For free. For free.
I know, Claire, there are some that doing private classes,
Yeah, I know.
such as Hutchins,
Mm-hmm.
Miss Andal on the hill, that is who I know.
And was Hill there? On the hill
On
there?
the hill,
Yeah.
and you hear
Mm-hmm.
she does that as well.
But hear me out, right? We all talk about the children are the future of the world, education wise. And I know things are tough in each and every one of us household, but we're not asking you to do it every day. We're not asking you to do it every week. We may say twice a month or something. Instead of we saying, oh, I'm not doing that because I'm not getting paid, look at it as a child needs your help or your assistance to move forward. Because we are the same set of people that when these children that are not educated properly break into our properties, we say, oh, they didn't get any education, and that's why I'm asking for the community to step in, because all of us do not have to have gates around our place to protect ourselves from the children that were neglected and getting the help that they needed. That's why I'm saying it.
Well, of course, I believe for them to just engage them actually. So
A possibility, it all involves discussion and coordination.
Mr. Bazon, we don't want you to lose focus. Have you already outlined all the activities that will go for the rest of the month?
Yes. Two major ones were for the one major national / branch and one branch activity. On the 23rd, we will North Lane, and we are to visit the two proposed grave sites would be Sister Joan King, that recently passed away, and Brother Christopher Francis Rex.
Yes.
That those are two recent persons who have passed away. So that's what we have in the pipeline. We have already spoken to the family of Sister Joan King. They just wanted a time and place when August that's coming. And we are making contact with the one for Mr. Francis. So we can do that as part of honoring their service and their legacy towards the teaching profession. And St. Patrick's branch has been the host branch for the past couple of years. So one of the headline activities for Teachers Month, which is Teachers Camp. It's will be held this year on the 28th of June at Bathway, beginning at 6 p.m. We are the host branch, so persons can, well, teachers from all across the island, they come out and they socialize and they have a grand time eating whatever is prepared by the various branches. Our branch this year, we're preparing, as usual, baked sand, strip turkey, and taniola.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
You're
this.
teaching somewhere?
Yeah.
It's not that girls. It's a grand live on the beach. It's one of the bigger activities that persons really look forward to. And we try to give them a very good historic parish comfort when they come to Batty. You don't regret coming to Batty. Sometimes we want to go home.
They don't want to go home.
Those guys actually do well. People like Miguel Toussaint, I know Davis John. Well, I know you retired now, but
Yeah,
also
but
he's a teacher.
Normally they they're only on Sunday.
The teacher say.
Us and the boys.
Set up the church. So they always
So I don't here's another thing. That's it, not two comment. There are two.
Who's the national?
Because it's on the 5th of July. About the Roman too.
Okay.
If you want to buy a ticket, you can purchase a ticket at the head office.
Price?
$70.
I'm not good, so I don't even know.
So when I was a teacher, I'm going. So here's a comment from one of the. It says, "What about support for the parents who are not academically able to help the children. Also, how about using the student in the same class to do the same thing, which is a good point to me.
Well, we do peer teaching and we do peer coaching with our students. So we better able, can be less able, and sometimes reverse the roles. So we do that. Teachers do that. To see, and with the parents, all schools have different ways of engaging with the parent that we know maybe not so much strong on the academic side. Sometimes we do videos, tutorials. We want to sometimes do video tutorials as to how to help each other a particular assignment. There are times based on the relationship you have with the parents, you engage the parents. Sometimes it goes back to relationship because not all parents will want somebody to know that they're not
Able to read.
So one of the things, one of the basic things we did earlier on, we realized, sometimes our messages get distorted because we write. So because all grades have a WhatsApp chat, there we write and still put a little voice note. And my kindergarten teacher is very good at doing her little videos. But any little thing that she has and she wants it done, you will see her most times she take her time, she make this video, and then she puts it on the chat so the parents can rewatch the video as many times as they want to assist the child. I will always give Miss Daly props for that because these are discussions we had, and she took it, she gave me the idea, and she continues to use it in her classroom. So she does have a lot of tutorial videos with her children. So there's that parent who passed on that Miss Daly cannot say Miss Daly has not gone down to the fine print to get them to understand and meet them where they are. And the others, once our relationship with them is fairly okay, I tell them, send the child, we'll work on it together. And I'll tell you, you can call me and we'll go how to get it done.
I have a final question for you. I don't know if you will allow me to come in. No, just saying this.
Yeah. I was going to say, you what? Listen, go ahead.
I realize you're in your second term of tenure for being the president of the St. Patrick's GUT. So it means that for the to elect you back, you're doing
We're campaigning.
doing well.
We're campaigning, didn't you hear?
So please don't interrupt me for my question. What sort of support do you get from your rest of your executive members in that position?
The best support possible.
Oh,
I don't have a problem, but executive comes on board. And as I said earlier, if I am falling short, they pull me up.
okay.
Yes, and they ensure that the service we had to get at, you didn't get that done, let us see how best you can get it. Well, so my executive is very, very supportive.
Very cooperative.
Very
I'm so happy to hear that.
Yes.
That's why you're going to be the GOT for the president for everybody. Right? They're still supporting you. We're giving you the, giving you the push. Yes. So somebody wrote, and I will do. She says, I talk about the what do you call it? Retired teachers to do the work, and she says, CJ, for that to happen, what you're saying, it has to be very caring teacher to do such. To
Yes.
and she also says, but right now, most teachers do not have the love for teaching. Most. We can say, we sometimes just not running out and say people in professional leaders, they only need for the money because what we see them do. But we cannot put everybody in the same lane or the same bracket because I know that teachers that are passionate, like you talk about Miss Daly now, you just gave talking about you, that you lie down on the floor. Some of us, we close the eyes and we are lying down on the floor. And you are professionally dressed and you're lying down on the floor with your children. So it's not about the whole thing. It's about the passion that someone has for the job that they're doing. Like, we do the mental health program here. And we have a passion for it. That's why every Tuesday we are here, like clockwork, talking about different things so that people can learn from it. Teachers, nurses, doctors, in all profession that one engages in, even the janitor, the people that sleep in the street, if they do not have the passion for it, it won't fly. On the other hand, Those that do not have the passion and are there for the job or just to get money, fire them. Because the children are suffering. And you may have a classroom that has 25 students and 10 or 15 is doing great. But because the teacher do not have the passion for the teaching, the 15 that are doing well is because they are academically inclined. They pick up everything that is thrown at them. The other 10 that is lagging behind and no passion, they are going to suffer.
Very, very interesting. That's why I have to ask here because I know usually it's supposed to have an evaluation process also.
Yes.
So in terms of if some teachers repeatedly does not meet the standards, what are the consequences?
Well, we normally have what we call PIP, performance reviews, that we generally do at the Ministry of Education. So there is an ongoing issue, and we may find, okay, something is redressing in conjunction with the principal, the district education officer, and our other administrators at the Ministry of Education. That teachers get a chance to go in, sit down, have that open discussion to address whatever ills and whatever misgivings that may be impacting on their performance. But for me, teaching is passion, it's purpose. So for me, I would tell everybody that, I always tell my daughters, tell everybody that I never wanted to be a teacher. You asked me that in secondary, so I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm going to teach for 2 years and won't get my law degree because that's what I want to do. So I like to argue. So law is very different. I can argue of anything. But then I got into teaching, and then I realized if all of us go, then who stays and nurtures the young minds? And then I had a principal, so Alexander, who saw a lot of potential that I didn't see myself. I would always push me. And in the pushing, I realized, this is my passion. And it's actually my purpose. Because I started to teach English and English when I would tell people, they pay me to re-roll it. So what other job in the world like asphalt, where I'm getting paid to do my hobby? Day in, day out. Shut up,
Interesting.
that editor, what can I be? And then I've grown to love what I do. And because I love what I do,
It's not a job anymore.
it's not a job for me. It's my vocation. That's what I'm good at. So I have no problem if my kindergarteners come and they take over the office and of course, Mr. Morgan, and no. They come and they color it and I'm coloring with them and I'm asking what they color.
Yeah.
The people come, they want to read. Well, I'm getting involved with people more than they would think possible. So I'll do all the character voice, I'll do everything with them to be rolling. You laugh when jumping because that is
The passion.
fun. That is what I want to do. For me, teaching is passion, is purpose. And for anyone who wants to enter the teaching profession, you have to realize that it's not, when you get there, it's not just
The pay.
a job, and not just your salary at the end of the month. You have the potential to make or break people because in your interactions with them, what you say or you treat them would have a lasting impression on them. All of us have teachers that close our I remember that teacher, remember that moment, be it a positive moment or a negative moment. For me, I just want my moments to be when you remember me to be positive rather than negative. So I think about that and I encourage seasoned teachers, new teachers to think about that. What kind of legacy, what kind of impact you want on persons. And when you think about impact, let the impact be more positive rather than negative. So don't just see teaching as a job that you have that's going to give you a paycheck. The paycheck comes with challenges, and you have to be able to weather those storms and be paid.
We have one call before we click on the ticket. Good morning.
Hi, good morning to you, CJ Jester and Madam Principal Stapleton.
Good morning.
It's an extremely wonderful topic this morning. I'm just sitting here breathtaking and gasping into all of what Principal is saying. I think we need to have you back.
Yes.
And I also want to suggest that a topic of that nature can even be done before exam. So as we enter into the semester for exam, these and that people talk can be issues that can raise to some of our parents and guardians and even our children can have that appreciation. It's not just for Samaritan or Sentinel, the school that you are attached to, but all other students and parents involved. So I commend you again openly on your openness as a principal and some of the issues that are faced with our students and our education system, more so at the school and classroom level. But I'd like to suggest, and based on your post as the president for St. Patrick, maybe you can have side discussion with your other president, head or member in regards to while government or the Ministry of Education speaks to holistic or secondary school for all, you said it repeatedly in so many different words that they are children who cannot make it academically. And as a result, we are not saying leave them back or just push them up and out. But I think we have enough space within our system where some of our schools can be used as skill learning systems so that these youngsters and young ladies can get hands-on training, skilled training to make them better marketable for our society. Now, you have what was once known as Anna Canal or the multipurpose center. It was now changed to Sam CCM, which I think was a gross insult to St. Patrick's people because I have known of lots of young men within the St. Patrick, St. Matt's area, St. Andrews, who had went there after primary and in some cases secondary school and were able to learn skills such as plumbing, electrical, joinery, and the allied welding. And they are now managers of their own small business and working in a reputable institution that gives them a status today that does not make them a predator to society. So I'd like to ask you to take it one step further and have the discussion within your board as GUT and then pass it to the ministry where deeper consideration can be given for Anakana or TAMTP St. Patrick to go back to that community center, training center. One, two, some of our schools can be used as skill learning centers at a secondary level so that the children can get the same recognition or some sort of certificate that can make them marketable, not just for Grenada, but the diaspora. So the Take Five team, there is lots that can be discussed, but we are taking it step by step, and I applaud you for such a topic.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
so
Thank
much.
you so much. I got goosebumps, honestly. I really, really got goosebumps on that one. Yeah.
Quite
Miss,
a mouthful.
yeah. Miss Sabazan, you have to come back. I don't know when you have the time, but this is a deep topic and it's more than one thing that we're talking about. Today we're talking about this role of student and parent in the exam. We just skimmed the top. And a lot of the things that you spoke about touched on all of the subjects that we were talking about this morning. So I'd like to say thank you so very much. You let Jester know when you're free again and you can really come back and expound more on the teaching system. And let me tell you, I, for one, am campaigning for you to be the GUT president of Grenada. Carry a coup and Petit Martinic. And you have someone else in the dance floor voting for you also.
My fans have already embraced that.
Yes, yes.
Huh?
So thank you so very much. And we'll yeah, anytime, anytime. You know, we try to just bring people here, bring subjects that can educate people. And you are number one in the where we have Jelani Glean sometimes that comes, and you're number two. And we're looking for others that can really come and expound on their skills or their talents to let everybody else learn something out there. Because in the process, I'm learning. Just say, and the room in our lives is the biggest room for improvement. We can all improve on who we are. So thanks much again. And I'm going to play my team song and let me see if you could dance. Come on.
You could let me put you under that kind of pressure.
Let's do that.
Sound, you know.
Here it is. Oh, we're going twice. Let's see. Let me see here. We're going with the new theme song. Now, Mr. Sabanan to hear a song and dance. So I'm checking it. Just I'll take five, CJ and Jester, salvation, confession. I need to stay safe. It's just for you. Take your time, with you in your mind. Take five, you know, CJ just bring you. Go down, so let's say,
It's not be okay. Let's talk it, drift away. Mental health.